giving me a chance to prove that I can say something other than formally conference. And there is an awful lot to say on this, so I'm going to start. I've only got 5 minutes. I want to start because I know some of the people in this room will be facing the same thing elsewhere. And I wanted to start with what I would do differently, or what we would do differently if we had the situation again, so that you hit the ground running, because it's obvious that this is going to happen in a much bigger wave in September. Firstly, I think you need to know what's going on quickly and move quickly. Our local authority kept from us what was going on, so we didn't find out until September that they'd been having what they called quiet conversations from about March of the previous year. And as Karen said, we weren't expecting any Haringey schools to come up on the list because there are no Haringey schools in the bottom 200 schools in the country. In fact, the bottom 200 schools in the country tends to be in conservative run areas where they have grammar schools, and it has that downward pressure on standards at lower level. So we weren't expecting it. We didn't know it was coming on, and they told us in September that they had 19 schools in their sites. Now, they refined that down to 2, treated those 2 very harshly, and brought another 2 in by failing them totally unexpectedly. And we've had Ofsted all over us like a rash throughout the autumn and spring term, and we're obviously being punished. One of the things I think we're being punished for is a Haringey success, that 73% of our schools boycotted SATs in 2010, easily the highest in London. And we're very proud of that. We know, the other thing that anybody facing this situation should do quickly is corner the politicians early on. We were very fortunate to bring David Lammy on board at an early stage, and he is actually a former pupil at Downhills, so it really did focus the press. But even without that, we've been badly let down by our council, who are really, it's a new Labour council, or was, and they're trying to say, well, academies are okay anyway, we can't take a principled position against it. And that's my third point. Deal with that failure argument on the ground. Get out there and show anybody, the politicians who might not know what the data looks like, that actually there are very good reasons why some children don't get level 4 at the age of 11. There's a story behind every child. We don't give up on these children. Some of them do it later, but if you saw the intake at Downhills, you'd realise that children like mine, who went to local schools, and the children of the Downhills parents here, they'll get their level 4s and 5s easily. It's not a school that holds people back. And one of our problems is that people signed up too quickly to the idea that these were failing schools. And of course we had Ofsted in very shortly afterwards to prove the point for everybody, really. This is a programme where they're not going to stop at anything. I think we've all been surprised by the ferocity, by the dirty dealings, the lies, we were expecting. Alistair came to see me early on in all of this and said, it's going to get really nasty. And I didn't realise how nasty it was going to get until I got the Evening Standard on my doorstep, and a piece in the London paper saying that I'd been paid £300,000 for not going to do my job as a teacher. It was extremely unpleasant. It was actually very interesting because the journalists that were doing it clearly didn't want to do it. And the one that turned up on my doorstep in Tottenham on a Sunday night, quite apart from the fact that his driver drove off and left him in the middle of Tottenham with a madwoman in bare feet in the garden, arguing with him, I said to him, this is something really horrible you're doing here, and he said, I know. But we did actually, the facilities argument was tacked onto it also. That's something that you will need to be aware of. You will come under personal attack. The awful thing is that I've been given credit for organising the Downhills Parents campaign. They think it was me doing it. They don't think the Downhills parents could possibly have done it. Now, at the risk of being accused of, it's not false modesty, I genuinely I've watched in wonder and awe as these parents have taken up the campaign and run it, and it's been absolutely fantastic. They've got more stunts planned. Susan's case, the letter of claim that went out last week, has really invigorated us all, and we're not going to give up, any of us. This is the worst thing that we've ever seen, but that doesn't mean that we're going to curl up and not fight it. I think I've been victimised. I've just had a serious complaint made against me by a converting academy in Haringey's just whacked in a 2-page letter of complaint of the most amazing, spurious stuff, written, amazingly enough, within a week or so of the story in the Evening Standard, but Haringey being what it is, it's taken them a couple of months to get around to actually formalising the complaint. I think I'm being victimised. But I just wanted to say, just pick up the point about Leslie Church. He was a devoted and devout NUT member for the whole of his teaching career, all 4 of his headships. He was on every single march with us. He was on our negotiating panel. And I think that the loss of Leslie Church to education is the most serious, that's the end, the living end, really, for all of us. It was an absolutely disgusting thing that happened to him. And if for nothing else, we all have to keep this fight going for him.